Yeah, it definitely changed everything. The one thing I
Mm-hmm.
don't like about it, all this is like I don't like using plastic,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I've used those pots you just plant in the ground. What are they called?
Peat pots?
Peat
Peat?
pots.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to that's what we should have answered in the
Terrible.
beginning.
Terrible,
That's
yeah.
exactly those are garbage. But they are the biggest rage, They everybody
Mm-hmm.
loves them and I hate them. They never work, they never break down.
It's all
Um
good. I mean, if you love them, go ahead and plant them, and then at the end of the season, dig it back up because it's,
yeah,
it's not going to
reuse
break
it.
down. It'll still be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was a tough part. So,
Yeah, yeah.
using all of these different trays and different ways, it helped me. So I use the 48 cell trays. I got my tomatoes in, I got my peppers, eggplants. I do my broccoli in them and stuff like that. I think I
I
have
don't know if
some
we
that are like
experience jealousy, but damn.
what?
I'm just looking at, I mean, your peppers look great, man.
Yeah,
Are those
that's
all peppers?
the
Like,
big ones are peppers, and then tomatoes are next to them. The,
okay, yeah,
the
man. Let's
tomatoes are
move on.
younger.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So, you made me lose my train of thought. What was I
That's
saying?
okay. I don't remember. I
Bring me
was,
back.
staring at the peppers and guys and gals. It's more or less like he's many weeks clearly ahead of me when it comes to these particular plants because his are going to go out into the garden much earlier than mine, and I'm just feeling a little bit of nostalgia as I look at it.
Those pepper plants are 2 weeks old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a lot of growth for 2 weeks for peppers
I
because
had
sometimes they,
them heat mats, baby. Them heat
yeah.
mats. I mean,
Are
they
those all sweet
germinated.
peppers and not hot?
They're as sweet and hot. Yeah.
Because we
So
know that generally hot can take a little bit longer to even pop up.
yeah, they were a
You know?
day later because I was watching them. They
Mhm.
were all a day later. I got germination in 3 days
Mhm,
because of those
mhm.
heat mats. So it made a big difference. But
Yeah.
so yeah, doing all of that will help with this. Now, the other part of this is when we get into and we hinted to it. So it's the up potting portion of this. Um, Up potting is very difficult to talk about because I know a lot of people love to up pot, and I used to be one that would up pot everything, but
So
now I don't.
tell us the logic behind up potting. Young
So
again.
my logic or the
The
overall
people's logic.
so the
Yeah.
people's logic is you want to have bigger roots, you want to have more space and all that stuff before you plant out. Um, but the true logic that I've come across is one, think about it this a lot of people like up pot their brassicas, their kale, cabbage, all that stuff. When you look at go to the store, how are you buying them? They're not.
Typically in a six pack in the olden days, or maybe now even a four pack now.
Yeah, but they're not up potted, is what I'm saying.
Mhm. No.
So you're not buying those up potted, but it's extremely common to buy a tomato in a bigger pot and a
Mhm.
pepper. So I started looking at that and thinking, like, okay, I'm having all these issues. How can I fix this? So I stopped up potting my cabbage, my lettuce, all that stuff. No problems. I still up pot my tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. That's basically all I up pot. But what we have to remember is on this shelf behind me, right now I have roughly 200 peppers and eggplants and tomatoes combined. And so those 200 plants that take up one shelf, when they up pot, they're now going to take up two shelves.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that. And that's where I failed that first year was it was insanity.
And
So
that's if you have the kind of cell structures, like the material to actually get double the size. So if you look at, how many plants did we count into what's that, like 72 or something, if you use your traditional six packs in a 10 by 20. Um, so to get like,
36 in a 10 by 20.
not you, the regular six packs, not the deep ones.
Yeah, if you have six cells that in six cells are 10 by 20, six of those would be 36
Yeah,
per
but it's
10
more
by
than,
20 spot. So then when
okay.
you up
Let's
pot it, it would be 72.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the opposite though. You get
No,
You have yeah. All right, let's I'm gonna say
let's move on.
72. Yeah, this math in public is embarrassing.
Yes, it
So
is.
72, pretend that we have 72 starts on our tray or inside our tray, and then we have to up pot them. It's great if we can get, 36, but do we really?
Yeah,
Right? Like, are we up potting them into something that's going to be able to fit? Like 36 of what's going to fit into a 10 by 20,
right.
you
So
know?
what I ended up doing is I found um so I'm telling you, if you go to Greenhouse Megastore and all this, everything is made for a greenhouse, and that's why everything's pretty standard. And so I found trays that hold 3 inch pots. So it holds half of that tray in 3 inch pots. So I can take 3 inch square pots and then
Mhm.
up pot in those, and then I can put those cells in. So they're all nice and spaced. They get, there's a little bit of space in between them, so they have more space for the plants and stuff like that when they start to spread out. And then that helped keep everything organized. Because before, I think I went on Amazon. You see them all the time. Those little cheap brown um, plastic pots that people get, like 3 inch round pots and stuff.
Those
Y-
are the ones I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
Like
yeah.
so you use those, and I mean you can cram a lot in there, but it gets a little hairy. So
Mhm,
this was
mhm,
able to
yeah.
lock everything in, and then I could transport them a lot easier, and it made it a lot. It
And
just
you also have an opportunity to if you're up potting, now you have things in an individual pot versus there's a whole six pack of tomatoes versus a whole six pack of peppers, right?
yeah,
And there's some things that I'm growing that I'm not growing six of, you know. The when you look at the trays and you start thinking about, all right, what can I fit in here? You have to ask yourself at that time, especially when you up pot, I start making decisions about do I really need however many I have of the thing.
yeah,
If I have 12 Roma tomato plants, I know I'm not going to plant 12. Do I even need to take 12 to the next stage? So, you start to, I can see the look on your face. You pot up everything if you're going to pot it up, don't you?
I do, I do, yeah, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know,
You
man.
never
But if I
know.
have 12, it's okay that I have eight, you know,
But if you don't need 12, why did you start 12?
because I'm a foolish woman.
Well, that was a rhetorical question, but
Yeah. Well, it was
um,
easier to, in those two sets of six packs, start 12,
mhm.
knowing that there is potential for some failure. Right. And then it's the all 12 look good. I may have even double seeded some of those cells.
Oh yeah,
Right. So all 12 of those look good. And now I have to make room for 12 individual Roma tomato plants alone, as an example. So that's when you start to kind of realize in that moment that you may have over started things,
yeah,
that you may have over planted. And remember, last year I was very adamant about, and I still am. It's okay for me to have too many of a plant and I don't actually plant it out into the garden. I have to become okay with that because the alternative for me was I ended up not having the start at all.